Good morning, First Church. This is Carolee Owens, your Minister of Music. Today is March 20th, 2020, and we have nearly completed 1 week of our new normal. I know many of us feel frustration, fear, and dread of the future. As Christians, we know who holds the future and holds us in the everlasting arms. I pray this devotional will lift you and me up and give us courage to face whatever the future holds. Today I'm reading from Then Sings My Soul by Robert J. Morgan. This series of books tells the stories behind our most beloved hymns. This is the story behind the song, Leaning on the Everlasting Arms. The eternal God is your refuge, and underneath are the everlasting arms. Deuteronomy 33:27. The idea for this song came from Anthony Showalter, principal of the Southern Normal Musical Institute in Dalton, Georgia. Showalter, a Presbyterian elder, was a well-known advocate of gospel music. He published over 130 music books with combined sales of 2 million copies, and he became known as through the South for his singing schools in local churches. Showalter took a personal interest in his students and enjoyed keeping up with them as the years passed. One evening in 1887, he was leading a singing school in a local church in Hartsville, Alabama. After dismissing the class for the evening, he gathered his materials and returned to his boarding house. 2 letters had arrived, both from former pupils. Each of the young men was heartbroken, having just lost his wife. Professor Showalter went to the Bible, looking for a verse to comfort them. He selected Deuteronomy 33:27. The eternal God is your refuge, and underneath are the everlasting arms. As he pondered that verse, these words came to his mind. Leaning, leaning, safe and secure from all alarms. Leaning, leaning, leaning on the everlasting arms. He scribbled replies to his bereaved friends. Then, reaching for another piece of paper, he wrote to his friend, hymnist Alicia Hoffman. Here's the chorus for a good hymn from Deuteronomy 33:27, his letter said, but I can't come up with any verses. Hoffman wrote 3 stanzas and sent them back. Showalter set it all to music, and ever since, these words have cheered us in adversity. What have I to dread? What have I to fear? Leaning on the everlasting arms. I have blessed peace with my Lord so near, leaning on the everlasting arms. Now here's a quote relating to this song from Charles Spurgeon. God, the eternal God, is our support at all times, especially when we are sinking into deep trouble. These are seasons when we sink quite low. Dear child of God, even when you are at your lowest, underneath are the everlasting arms. And my final quote from Matthew Henry. However low the people of God are at any time brought, everlasting arms are underneath them to keep the spirit from fainting and the faith from failing, even when they are pressed above measure. Everlasting arms with which believers have been wonderfully sustained and kept cheerful in the worst of times. Divine grace is sufficient. Please pray with me. Dear God, may we take the words of leaning on the everlasting arms into our hearts and use them to bring comfort, hope, and peace. This is the time we can prove to ourselves and others that we believe and trust in you. May we share your love as we continue to live in this time of uncertainty, knowing you hold us in your everlasting arms. Amen.